Welcome to another episode of the Ohio High School Film Room. In this episode, I have Ben Knostman from Tippecanoe High School. Ben, welcome to the film room with me.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Ben, you play in a league with a lot of athletes, so it's probably easier to drive to the basket compared to when you're playing AAU against a lot tougher competition. After watching these clips, what are some things you think you do a good job of in terms of the high school season in getting to the basket and really using your length to score around the rim?
I feel like with high school ball, there's a lot less athletes and stuff like that, so I can make a lot more moves, try to get by them, use screens, use backdoor cuts and stuff like that, try to get my team involved. And then just being a little bit of a taller point guard, I can kind of finish around guys a little bit easier using my right and left hand.
Now, I only saw you play, obviously, high school games for this video. Do you ever have difficulty like getting to the basket in AAU because you're not the quickest player, but you seem to have a good feel for kind of beating your man and getting to the spots where you want to get to, at least in the high school game?
Yeah, usually AAU is a little bit harder to get by the guy, but using screens and stuff like that, I can sometimes get a mismatch between like a big man and then just take him off the dribble and get to the hole really easily. And it's also with AAU, there's a lot more help. So whenever I drive, there's sometimes that second guy that comes and it's an easy kick for a three.
Now, Ben, on these clips, we kind of see your athleticism kind of let you down a little bit. A couple of these plays, you get your shot blocked. After watching these clips, what are some things that you can kind of take away from these drives that were obviously unsuccessful?
Yeah, most of these drives, I'm kind of trying to force stuff a little bit more. I feel like I'm trying to get into the lane. There's already 3 or 4 people there. I kind of just need to kick it out, or I need to take that one less dribble and just take a pull-up jumper. Because, I mean, with these bigger guys down low, it's kind of hard to finish over them. So I just need to play a little bit smarter sometimes.
Standing at 6'4" and still being a point guard, you're defended by some smaller players. How would you say your kind of bully ball approach when you're able to get a mismatch down low? How are you able to work that into your game?
I mean, most of the best shot in the game is always a layup. It's always gonna be the highest percentage shot. So I try to get down there, especially whenever I have a guy that's like 6 foot or shorter. I know that I can kind of finish over him, so I'm not as worried about it. So I just kind of try to get low, see if I can get a good position and get the ball down there.
Last season, you averaged 6.2 assists per game. That's one of the highest marks in the entire state. In this video, we see a bunch of passing highlights of you. Just where do you get some of this court vision to make some of these passes? Because like I mentioned before, one of the top assist guys in the entire state means you're one of the best passers in the entire state as well.
Yeah, most of it's just kind of messing around, see how I can make different passes with different hands or just different angles and stuff like that. And then my dad growing up has always told me to assist better than a score. So I just kind of implemented that into my game and just seeing what I can do to make my teammates around me better.
Yeah, and I like the different variety of assists that I show in this clip. Not only do you have sort of outlet passes, but you have post entries, passes from the post. So you show a wide variety of ways to get your teammates involved. Obviously, you're the most talented guy on your high school team, also from a scoring perspective, but how nice is it to kind of get your teammates open looks to have them score the ball?
It's really nice. It helps me score some more too, because having them being such great options to pass to, their guys have to guard them a little bit tighter. They can't like help off as much. So I mean, just moving the ball around like that, making everybody better, really helps all around, just the team.
Ben, your ability to not only pass the ball with 2 hands, but pass the ball with 1 hand, both with your right hand and your left hand, is something that kind of separates you from other passers around the state. How much do you work on sort of these one-handed skip passes, especially off a live dribble? Because some of these plays that I have clipped here are some of the better passes I see all season.
Yeah, so during practice and stuff like that, that's whenever I kind of really work on like all my hands passing different angles and just different ways that I can get the ball to them. So during practice, I always try to come off the screen. Whenever I come off, like one hand with my left, one hand with my right, just try to do different ways to see how I can get the ball to them.
And I imagine you're a natural righty. So how did you kind of get the skill to throw those one-handed passes with your left hand? Because typically you see players, they're comfortable with their dominant hand, but maybe they don't throw those passes with their opposite hand. So how did you become so comfortable with your left hand?
I feel like it's kind of like a lost art in the game right now. So many people they're one-sided, they're only one-handed. So growing up, I always try to use my left hand as much as I could, left-hand layups, left-hand dribbles, just stuff like that. I try to see if I can be multi-dimensional so they can't really guard me as easily.
You make good decisions with the basketball most of the time when the ball is in your hands. But one thing that I noticed about your league in high school is that there's a lot of ball pressure on the guards, especially coming from a team like Troy. They really did a good job of forcing you to give up the basketball and get into your grill. After watching these clips, what do you kind of see that you think you can improve on from your 4 turnovers a game last year, with which your large amount of assists isn't too bad, but it's still a number that I'm sure you want to cut down next season.
Yeah, for sure. That's a big thing of mine that I need to get down. Most of it is just me getting hurried up, me not really thinking before I make the decision. I'm just kind of loose with the ball and just I don't see everything on the court at that moment. So I just need to work on that a little bit more.
And you're kind of the offensive hub for your team at 6'4". You have great vision as a point guard, but also you're getting a lot of double teams. Is that something that you think you've grown more comfortable dealing with throughout this season?
Yeah, a little bit more. I mean, it's a different circumstance every single time. Whenever that double team comes, you have to see where it comes from, who the help is from, and just it's a whole bunch of different reads that you need to do. So I just need to work on that a little bit more.
The point guard position is getting more of a scoring role, it seems, year by year. Your outside jumper seems to be developing. We see a couple confident mid-range pull-ups that you don't hit. You only shot 13 for 36, which is 36% from the three-point line. Would you say the three-point shot is kind of the number one thing you're working on this offseason?
Yeah, this offseason I've been trying to get up like 200 threes a day, just get that shot, get that repetition, get the muscle memory in it, and just trying to make that where I can kind of expand my game to all 3 levels. So people have to guard me everywhere.
And I think you have some shooting potential. I mean, you shot the ball 80% from the free throw line. That shows that maybe stretching out your range is something that you need to do, but it's very capable. I think especially my favorite clip of yours was your buzzer beater pull up against Fairborn to end the quarter. Just discuss that play a little bit, because it seemed like you were more confident pulling that shot than most other times.
Yeah, I knew it was last second, so I knew there wasn't really any other option besides me. And that's kind of the problem that I get sometimes. I get stuck in my head. I feel like I should pass the ball instead of shooting it as much as I do. So whenever I know I have to shoot the shot, whenever I know it's like only me that can make the shot, it makes it a lot more easier to just rise up and hit the shot.
Yeah, that was kind of what I assumed, because, yeah, you have no other options at the end of the quarter. So you were just like, well, I have to shoot this jumper. If I miss it, it doesn't matter. And it turns out you make the jumper because you are a capable shooter, but just kind of getting out of your head is something that I'd like to see you make this next season. Watching your game, it seems like there were times where I was just screaming for you to shoot the basketball from three-point line. Rewatching these clips, does this kind of highlight your need to be more confident with the three-point shot, because it's going to open up other avenues to your game?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely need to just catch the ball and go up sometimes, because I get caught in my head too much. And I just don't take the shot whenever I know it's a good shot. I know it's open. I know I can hit it. I just need to take it.
And at the next level, you're not going to be one of the most athletic players on the court, but in your high school league, you are pretty athletic compared to your competition. You're able to get 2.6 steals per game and 0.9 blocks per game. On the defensive end, what are you kind of trying to do to make a play, because you can have some nice defensive stock numbers in this league?
Most of it is just kind of reading the offensive player, kind of seeing his eyes, see what they might do. And then we do a lot of scouting too with our team. So it's a lot of being able to kind of already know what play they're doing. So see where the screen's coming from, be able to jump in front of it and try to take that pass.
And then there's not a ton of dominant scorers in your league. So how do you kind of try and balance playing help defense and also just sticking to your man? How does that sort of balance work for you on the defensive end?
Mostly with our defense, we run a lot of help. So it's a lot of help side and then the helper kind of stuff. So we're not really focused on our guy quite as much. We're focused on just as a team making sure they can't get to the bucket and they can't score down low.
Is that kind of trying to force people to beat you from the outside and betting that they can't make 3-point shots?
Yep. That's pretty much what our defense is against. Just giving them contested threes and hoping they miss.
In terms of your point of attack defense, you aren't the quickest player, but with your length, you kind of have the ability to shy off of players and still contest their jumpers. What are some things, looking back at these clips, judging kind of your on-ball defense here?
For some of those clips, I definitely need to force them. Our goal is to kind of force them baseline, force them away from the middle. So I need to get that front foot up and kind of cut them off a little bit more, and then also just make sure I have a hand up so I can either swipe it before the shot gets up or contest it a little bit more.
Despite playing the point guard position, you were fourth in your entire conference in rebounding at 7.5 a game. Just how much pride do you take in cleaning up the glass, not only on the offensive end, but also the defensive end? Because that's a very high number for a point guard.
Yeah, I mean the defense doesn't really stop until somebody gets a rebound. So we always insinuate that into our team to make sure you find a man, box out, go get that board and the possession so you can get the ball. And then rebounding is mostly just effort too, just who wants it more. So I just make sure I'm always that guy that wants to go get the ball more than they do.
Well, Ben, you had a fantastic junior season. Do you have any goals for your senior campaign at Tippecanoe?
For senior year, just hoping we can make a deeper playoff run than we did this year, and then hoping we can win that MVL title.